So the people have asked for more what if videos, and those are fun. The thing is, I didn't see anything specific with firm support asked for, which if you do want to see a what if, make sure to comment or upvote ones that you do want to see. But with that covered, I wanted to go over a scenario that I thought had somewhat wild potential. But I think when you go through all of the parts and see this type of stuff that happens, I think wild is a given with JoJo. So this is what if La Squadra won. While this concept is different and interesting to me, the idea itself is odd, for the lack of a better word, when you consider what it truly means. Here's how I'm picturing it. Imagine if every member of La Squadra was to win their fight against every member of Bruno's team. First. Well, it can't exactly happen because the first fights are so vital to the grand scheme of things, where the objective of it all finishes faster than you think. The main idea is let's get them to win, no questions asked. Second, it's sad. As much as I like La Squadra, I like Bruno's group so much more because of how invested I am into them. And it sucks because they're an obstacle here, but you know how it goes. It is what it is. It is what it is. Now, as for how we're going about this, let's take it from the top with Narancia and Formaggio. With Formaggio winning this fight, this means that he knows where to locate Trish, so he's already familiar with Bruno's group, at least before Giorno. Now, Formaggio doesn't plan on going in because he's clearly outnumbered. Instead of going in, he notifies the other members of La Squadra and posts up outside the home to where he can stake out. With this information, one of the best moves that the group can do is to designate who's built for this type of matchup. As for Bruno and his group, they're getting notified to go to Pompeii. Narancia hasn't come back, so I doubt that Bruno would want to stay around with only Mista to defend Trish, so they're all going to Pompeii. But now the difference is Aluzo is not the only one waiting for them. Formaggio is following behind, and Aluzo most likely has 2 to 3 more members posted up with him. I think they'll give Formaggio credit on taking out Narancia, even though they probably think Narancia should have been somewhat easy because of his known lack of intelligence. So we have 2 members coming to help. I'll say it's Prosciutto and Pesci, since most likely in proximity. And Prosciutto himself is just a great leader figure to take care of everything. The room for screwing things up is a lot smaller now too, since Aluzo has someone guiding him. Now, the plan is in motion. Bruno shows up with his group posted up, Mista, Bruno, and Trish staying in the car. The trio of Fugo, Abacchio, and Giorno continue. Fugo gets pulled into the Mira world. I imagine Abacchio is still trying to get the Kia Cave Cannon, which is an ideal situation for La Squadra. Aluzo screaming out something like, Pesci, here! And Abacchio's plan on using Moody Blues as a decoy falls apart as Pesci uses Beach Boy on his actual body. And it's a 2v1 here. Abacchio goes down swinging. Now, Prosciutto is on the sidelines trying to gauge the situation at hand with Giorno and Purple Haze. Formaggio is falling back at the moment until Prosciutto gives the go. Right now, he's just monitoring the members of Bruno's group that had stayed in the car. It's still only Trish, Mista, and Bruno. Now, Purple Haze is a problem, so Prosciutto tells Aluzo to take care of Fugo, get that done, and he does. Fugo dies, and Purple Haze disappears. Giorno recognizes the situation and gets out of there while he still can. Prosciutto lets Giorno escape because he's not really getting away. They drive off to figure something out. Formaggio is still following behind them, or he's inside of the car with them, either or. The main idea is that they don't know that he's following them. So Prosciutto reads the key, sees the information, and takes it upon himself and Pesci to get the turtle. Everyone in La Squadra gets the news, and Risotto makes a plan to meet with Prosciutto and Pesci, but directs everyone else to take care of Bruno's team and to get Trish. The thing is that Trish is what's critical here. La Squadra can't get to Bruno's emails, and even if they could, Abacchio is dead, so there's no way to get to Pericolo's last message. Getting Coco Jumbo is cool and all, but there's no way for them to get to the next step of the mission, so on to the next phase. Formaggio is still on the stakeout. After seeing that they can't do anything with Coco Jumbo, Risotto tells everyone to take care of Bruno's group. This fight is the final step. They have to rest somewhere, and once they find a place, the game is over. Or well, they don't really have to find a place. The Grateful Dead fight and the White Album fight show that they can work with a moving environment. Now, there is so much to do here. My idea is that they have Melone's Babyface or Formaggio get Trish out first, and then they wipe out everyone else. Either way, you saw the title, they're done. Now on to the next phase. Trish giving them information. Now, she has no real reason not to give up her dad. If she tells them, she avoids potential torture. She's most likely somewhat traumatized from seeing all this and wants to get out of the situation entirely. Trish then tells them about Sardinia, and Risotto sets up a plan for Trish to go back to somewhere. Home isn't exactly an option, but I'll be getting to that later. Now, La Squadra to Sardinia is the plan. The problem here is that Abbacchio is crucial. Like really, really crucial. Abbacchio has been essential at 2 significant points in the story, and I don't think people usually think about it. Like, imagine this. They get to Sardinia, like, let's go. And it's like, okay, but where? Plus, Diavolo doesn't even have to bother with involving himself because there's nothing they'd be able to find or do when they go over there. He could go over there to just scope out the situation to see if they're progressing, but when he sees that they're stumped, he'll retreat. He's probably sending an elite guard like Carne to shake them up, but that's about it. Everyone is resetting. So it's like, okay, well, what's the move now? The search for Diavolo can't stop here, and it won't. Along with that, Diavolo most likely has to go for his second best option in taking Trish out, just in case someone like Abbacchio rises. So Trish is in some sort of witness protection because they might need her for one day, and Diavolo most likely has a hit out on the Hitman team. And that sounds pretty fun. So we have to continue with the premise of the video, having them win. We were already using headcanon from what we could piece up with the evidence, but now we have to push even further. Now, if the team searches throughout Passione's members, let's say they sooner or later find a stand user to help their plans. The character here has to exist for the sake of the plot, but I believe that they can integrate well into the group. Here's what I wanted to propose for a character. They're new to Passione and wanted to join in the interrogation and research subdivisions of the group. They're stand in person. I'll leave it to all of you to decide the name and design for all that. You can send it to me on Twitter if you want to. But the ability I want is similar to Abbacchio's to an extent. The ability is called Memory Bank. If the user of the stand makes contact with someone or something, they can portray the past of the character for everyone, like parentheses, stand users, to see. The page I made for the ability will be on screen for you all. Since the group has that new member now, they can go to Sardinia again. Cool, woo, rest in peace, Pop Smoke. They go to Sardinia and the new member recreates the scene, and Risotto recreates the face of who Diavolo and Doppio were before the split. At this point, we are at Pronto, on the line part 2 in terms of plot. To be specific, we're at where Polnareff hits up the team, if that's what you remember it as. La Squadra is heading to Rome. Now Diavolo is confused, so he sends out more guards and gets himself involved too. Too much is going on, but what's the main idea here? La Squadra must win. So let's say that they go to Rome ahead of Diavolo by a lot because they've taken care of the elite guards. Polnareff talks to Risotto. He's most likely extremely shaky on what's going on or trying to even help them, but someone has to stop Diavolo. Polnareff doesn't know that he has essentially created hell on earth with that one decision, but you know, it is what it is. Now, I don't want to worry too much about the specifics of Metallica Requiem at the moment, but let's just say that the combination of that plus La Squadra is more than enough to take out Diavolo and any potential elite guard that he has. Finally, Risotto is at the top with his team. Wow, imagine that. La Squadra is finally at the top of Passione. Now, here's why I wanted to get to this part so bad. Everything, and I mean everything can go wrong easily. Let's begin with how this affects Passione. Remember, La Squadra isn't anything like Bruno's group. They couldn't be bothered to care about how drugs are affecting the country. The real focus is that the change in power brings a lot of talk to the table. Once everyone gets news of La Squadra, of all people, has taken over Passione, that can inspire a bunch of other members to try their hand too. Though that's not the trouble that worries me. What's truly scary is if Risotto wanted to make changes that he would have liked to see for himself, he can put money into the elite groups of Passione. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but to get that money, he's most likely making some cuts on potentially crucial parts of the organization. What if he takes money out of the groups that function like Bruno or the pushers or the politicians that he has on payroll? It's possible that his plan can take a plummet for the worse. I wanted to end that in a P, but there's just nothing that worked there. But what could happen if they were to do that? Well, let's consider the politicians that they have on payroll. By cutting down the money paid to officials, they may feel inclined to stop doing what Passione wants. Now, if they stop, Passione can take them out and replace them. If they start taking out officials and replacing them, the original officials might wage war against Passione to save themselves from any potential danger. Now, let's consider the lower tier members. A lot can happen if their wages are cut and put only into the elite divisions, since the lower tier members usually account for the highest percentage of members in Passione. The lower stand users could fight their way up, word on the murder of Polpo gets out, and the people could get the idea of killing each other is enough to help someone rise through the ranks. As for the non-stand users, they could start going for the higher tiered people who are stand users so they could get better compensation. Now, I can propose an even more ridiculous situation. If the non-stand users get news of stands, they can take the means of trying to become stand users to take rank. Or they could try to prove their worth by being a non-stand user that assassinates stand users. Now that sounds ridiculous, but anything's on the table here. One of the more practical things that I could see people doing is singling off the Squadra members, trying to pick them off one by one and gain power in the group. That doesn't seem that far off. But yeah, I could continue elaborating on the situation and talk about the specific talking points here, like what would happen if the country was to wage war on Passione, but I think that'll be better off for a different video. So what would happen if La Squadra won? The short answer, it gets bad to worse. The long answer, this whole video and then some, potentially. But yeah, thank you all for watching. If you've enjoyed the video and have been enjoying the content on this channel, leave a like or subscribe. That's the most. As soon as I hit 200K, I'm gonna start talking like that. Apparently it works. Apparently that's what you're supposed to do. That's why I said early on in the video. People say that, you say it more. But yeah, you guys know me. Hopefully I'll see you all on the next one. Stay safe out there. Until then, peace out and Godspeed.